The letter came on a Tuesday, stuffed in my mailbox like a ticking bomb. Bright red ink screamed "violation" across the top, and the HOA's logo, a smug little crest with laurels, sat there like it owned me. My heart thudded as I tore it open, standing right there in my driveway, the gravel crunching under my sneakers. The air smelled faintly of cut grass and gasoline from my neighbor's lawnmower, buzzing like a wasp in the distance. The note claimed my driveway, the one I'd poured sweat and savings into, was encroaching on community property. They demanded I rip it up or face fines. Fines I couldn't pay. I stood there, the paper trembling in my hands, feeling the world tilt. This wasn't just about concrete. This was about my home, my sanctuary, the one place I'd carved out after years of scraping by. And Karen Whitmore, the HOA president with her pearl earrings and her fake smile, was coming for it. I crumpled the letter, my breath hitching, and marched inside. The screen door slammed behind me, a sharp crack that echoed my rage. My kitchen smelled of coffee and the faint lavender from a candle I'd lit last night, trying to calm my nerves after a long shift at the diner. I tossed the letter on the counter, next to a stack of bills already mocking me. My hands shook as I poured another cup, the liquid sloshing over the rim. How dare they? I'd bought this place fair and square, a fixer-upper on the edge of Willow Creek, a neighborhood I thought was quiet, unassuming. But Karen and her HOA cronies had other plans. They'd been hounding me since I moved in. First, it was my mailbox color, too garish. Then my fence height, a quarter-inch too tall. Now this. My driveway. I could still hear her voice from the last meeting. Syrupy sweet, but sharp as a blade. We have standards. MS. Delgado. You'll adjust. Adjust. The word burned in my chest. I'd adjusted my whole damn life, adjusted to losing my mom at 16. Adjusted to working double shifts to keep a roof over my head. Adjusted to the whispers about the new girl who didn't fit their cookie-cutter cul-de-sac. But this was war. I didn't sleep that night. The ceiling fan clicked above me, a steady rhythm that matched the churn in my gut. By morning, I was done playing nice. I drove to the county clerk's office, the air thick with August heat, my AC rattling like it was on its last breath. The clerk, a tired woman with glasses perched on her nose, handed me a stack of forms. "You sure about this?" she asked, her voice low, like she knew the storm I was about to unleash. I nodded, my jaw tight. I spent hours digging through property records, my fingers smudged with ink, my coffee going cold. That's when I found Ida Surveyor's map from 1983, buried in a dusty file. The HOA's precious community property line. It was wrong. Dead wrong. My driveway was mine, and their cul-de-sac, their pristine little street. It was built on land that wasn't even theirs. The discovery hit like a lightning bolt, but I kept it close. A secret weapon. I didn't confront Karen right away. No, I played her game. I went to the next HOA meeting, held in the community center that smelled of bleach and old carpet. Karen sat at the head of the table, her nails tapping a slow, deliberate rhythm on her clipboard. The room was packed, neighbors I barely knew, all eyes on me as I walked in, my boots scuffing the polished floor. "MS. Delgado," Karen said, her lips curling. "Have you addressed the violation?" Her voice dripped with condescension, and I swear I heard a snicker from her lackey, Tom, who always trailed her like a loyal dog. I smiled, tight and controlled, my heart pounding so loud I thought they'd hear it. "I'm working on it," I said, my voice steady despite the fire in my veins. I could feel the weight of their stares, the judgment, the assumption I'd fold. But I wasn't here to beg. I was here to watch them squirm. That's when I met Lila. She slipped into the seat beside me, her silver hair pulled into a messy bun, her eyes sharp and knowing. She smelled faintly of patchouli, and her hands were stained with paint, like she'd been working on a canvas before she came. "Don't let her get to you," she whispered, leaning close. "Karen's been pulling this crap for years." Lila was new to me, a wild card in this neighborhood of pressed khakis and manicured lawns. She'd moved in a month ago, an artist who kept to herself, but her presence felt like a lifeline. Over coffee the next day, she told me stories, Karen finding a widow for her unkempt roses, Karen bullying a young couple into selling after endless citations. Lila's voice was low, her words laced with disgust. She thinks she owns this place, she said, stirring her coffee with a clink. Time someone put her in her place. Lila's words lit a spark. I spent weeks building my case. Every night a blur of legal jargon and property lines. My kitchen table became a war room, covered in maps, deeds, and sticky notes. The dishwasher hummed in the background, a steady drone that kept me grounded as I worked. Lila stopped by often, bringing her sketches wild, vibrant things that made my drab walls feel alive. She'd sit with me, pointing out loopholes in the HOA bylaws. Her laughter a bright counterpoint to my exhaustion. You're gonna bury her, she'd say, her eyes glinting. I wasn't so sure, but her belief kept me going. The court date came faster than I expected. The morning was crisp, the air heavy with the scent of rain. I stood outside the courthouse, my palms sweaty, my blouse sticking to my back. Lila was there, her hand squeezing mine, her voice a quiet anchor. You've got this. Inside, the courtroom smelled of polished wood and stale coffee. Karen sat across from me, her lawyer a slick guy in a cheap suit whispering in her ear. She didn't look at me, not once, but I could feel her confidence, thick as the humidity outside. The judge was a no-nonsense woman with gray streaks in her hair and a voice like gravel. I presented my case, my voice shaking at first, but growing stronger with every word. The surveyor's map was my ace, and when I laid it out, Karen's face twitched just a flicker. But I saw it. My lawyer, a pro bono guy who'd taken pity on me, hammered the point home. The HOA had overstepped, claiming land that wasn't theirs, enforcing rules on property they didn't own. The room was silent except for the faint hum of the air conditioner and the rustle of papers. Karen's lawyer stammered, his notes slipping from his hands, scattering like leaves. Then came the twist. Lila stood up, unprompted, her voice cutting through the room like a blade. Your Honor, she said, I have evidence. She pulled out a folder, photos, emails, even a recording of Karen bragging at a barbecue about teaching that Delgado girl a lesson. My breath caught. I hadn't known. Lila hadn't told me. The judge's eyes narrowed as she listened, her pen tapping a slow rhythm. Karen's face went white, her pearls suddenly looking like they were choking her. The ruling came down like a gavel on my heart. Not only was my driveway mine, but the HOA's cul-de-sac, their pride and joy, was built on misallocated land. The judge ordered it closed off, pending a new survey. The HOA would pay for it. And the fines struck down. I walked out of that courtroom, my legs shaking, the air electric with victory. Lila grabbed my arm, her laugh loud and wild, echoing off the marble walls. Told you, she said, her eyes shining. But the real high came later. I stood on my porch that evening, the sky bruised purple, the crickets starting their nightly hum. Across the street, Karen's car pulled into her driveway, her legal driveway, now half blocked by orange cones and a road closed sign. The cul-de-sac, her kingdom, was locked down, her neighbors' cars rerouted, their complaints already buzzing through the neighborhood group chat. I could hear her door slam from here, a sharp, angry sound that felt like justice. My chest swelled, not with pride, but with something deeper, relief. Maybe, or the weight of years of fighting finally lifting. I sipped my coffee, the mug warm in my hands, the lavender candle flickering inside. Lila's sketches hung on my wall now, a reminder of the fight we'd won. This wasn't just about a driveway. It was about standing up, about saying enough when someone tries to take what's yours. Karen thought she could bully me into submission, but she'd forgotten one thing. A home isn't just a place. It's a fire you protect, a line you draw. And I'd drawn mine in court orders, in ink, in the gravel under my feet. The neighborhood would talk for weeks. Karen's fall, the street she loved, now a barricaded mess. But for me, it was quieter. It was the sound of my door locking, my coffee brewing, my life mine again.